So YSL's La Nuit de l'Homme, that's a fragrance that is extremely popular. I would say both in the sort of, kind of hardcore fragrance community, as well as people who don't necessarily, I would say, consider themselves in the fragrance community, but they are slightly sort of familiar with different fragrances. It's definitely a well-loved fragrance. And it has sparked, some pretty popular flankers as well. And the flanker that we're going to be going over today, as well as a clone of that fragrance, is going to be La Nuit de l'Homme Bleu Electrique. So the clone that I have here is not going to be one of the most popular, I would say, clones of that fragrance right now, which would be the Fragrance World Jack of Clubs. This is actually going to be from Grandeur Elite, and this is Iconic Nuit Pour Homme from Grandeur. All right. So this is the way that the box looks here. So you've got the name of the fragrance on the front, bottle size and concentration. This is a Eau de Parfum 100 ml. You've got the Grandeur logo up top. On the sides here, you've got like this line that kind of goes along all sides of the box, really except for just kind of like the front. And it says Cerulean on the sides here. I don't know exactly what that means, but you do have that written down here at the bottom as well. And then you've got Iconic Nuit as well as the ingredients on the back. And on the bottom, you have like the UPC as well as the manufacture date. This particular bottle was manufactured in July of 2023. And in terms of what the bottle looks like that. All right. So, you could definitely, you can tell that they're trying to go for kind of like that same look of La Nuit de l'Homme Bleu Electrique with kind of like the blue gradient style bottle. So you have that there. You've got the Grandeur logo down there at the bottom. Cerulean Iconic Nuit Pour Homme there. You've got this magnetic cap up top. Snaps on there. It does not hold the bottle enough to where you could, pretty much pick up the bottle by the cap. So definitely don't do that. But it does snap on there. And then you've got the sticker down there at the bottom says Eau de Parfum. All right. The sprayer on this one is not great at all. It is very kind of inconsistent, and it doesn't really have kind of like a smooth break to it. So definitely I would say the sprayer is like the weakest part of this particular fragrance. But in terms of the actual smell of this fragrance, the smell of this is pretty good. Now, is this the most, I would say, the closest thing to the original Bleu Electrique? We're going to go over that in just a second, but just to kind of go over the notes for Bleu Electrique are in the top, you have cardamom, ginger, and bergamot. In the mid, you have lavender and geranium. And in the base, you have cedar and vetiver. So what do I get when I spray the two fragrances on? I get some differences for sure. So this to me, I would say is more kind of like an inspired fragrance rather than like an actual clone of Bleu Electrique. So I have here like a little 2 ml sample of Bleu Electrique that I'm just going to spray. And then Iconic Nuit. All right. So Bleu Electrique to me, excuse me, it comes off as having like this really kind of blue sort of shower gel fresh type of vibe. So it smells like they took La Nuit de l'Homme and they wanted to kind of jump on like that sort of blue fragrance vibe that was, kind of going on at the time with, Sauvage, Bleu de Chanel, Versace Dylan Blue, those types of fragrances. You could tell that that's what they were kind of going for with this one. I would say kind of more so like a La Nuit de l'Homme that you would more so wear in the daytime, kind of fresh out the shower, This is, I would say, a La Nuit de l'Homme that would be more kind of like, I would say I would more so wear this one like in the office, as opposed to just wearing it as like sort of like a date night sort of freshie. This also to me comes off as a fragrance that, you know, you could definitely wear, I would say in the summertime, you know, for sure. So it has like this, like I said, this really nice, fresh sort of, you know, blue sort of shower gel type of vibe to it. Whereas the Iconic Nuit, to me, this smells a lot more like the original La Nuit de l'Homme, where you're getting more of a, you know, heavier emphasis on that cardamom note. Now, I feel like with this, I'm getting more cardamom, I would say bergamot and lavender pretty much. With the Bleu Electrique, I feel like I'm getting more lavender, geranium, bergamot, and ginger. More kind of like a you know, I would say a balanced mixture of those notes. I really don't pick up on that much cardamom really at all in the Bleu Electrique. So this comes off as being more kind of like a slightly sort of denser blue fragrance, whereas this comes off as more sort of like a more sort of fresh, spicy, more kind of oriental type of fragrance, you know, kind of like how the original La Nuit de l'Homme is. All right. So which one would I say that I prefer? I actually do prefer the way that the Iconic Nuit smells. I do. Not to say that I don't like the Bleu Electrique. I just feel like if I'm gonna wear like a blue fragrance, I would much rather wear something like Sauvage. I would definitely much rather wear something like Bleu de Chanel EDP. I would even say I probably would much rather wear something like Versace Dylan Blue, to be honest. This, out of all of those kind of like blue style fragrances, in my opinion, I don't know, it just doesn't really do anything for me necessarily. Whereas I feel like the Iconic Nuit, they're still kind of staying a little bit more truer to like the original La Nuit de l'Homme scent profile, but this does also still have kind of like a blue sort of element to it. You get a slightly sort of shower gel vibe to this particular fragrance as well, but it doesn't come off as being as strong and as dense. And I would say the scent profile, the character of the scent profile is still pretty much the same. It's still that really sort of aromatic, fresh, spicy sort of, you know, texture that you get with the original La Nuit de l'Homme. Now, in terms of like the overall percentage, you know, that I would give this fragrance to like the original Bleu Electrique, I would say this is only going to be like about 70 to 75% close to Bleu Electrique. So, I mean, if you're someone who really, really loves the way that Bleu Electrique smells and you're looking for something that is, you know, extremely close to that fragrance, then I would say this is not going to be what you're looking for. Now, I haven't smelled the Jack of Clubs. I haven't smelled the what is it? I think it's called Neshama Caprice from Lattafa. I haven't smelled those fragrances, so I can't really say exactly how close they come to the original Bleu Electrique. I'm gonna try to get, you know, either one of those fragrances or possibly both. I'm not sure. But in terms of this fragrance, I'm going to say that this is not very close to the original at all. But I would say, at least for me, I do actually like that. So this is kind of more so like a sort of inspiration, I would say, of the original. But this is definitely doing its own thing. And again, it does I would say stay a little bit more truer to kind of what, you know, the original La Nuit de l'Homme smells like. Not exactly the same. I would say that La Nuit de l'Homme is definitely a little bit more greener than what this fragrance is. So this has more of like a sweetness to it, which is also what you get with, you know, Bleu Electrique. Bleu Electrique is definitely nowhere near as green, I would say, as nowhere near as green and nowhere near as sort of dry and woody as what the original La Nuit de l'Homme is, which makes it not, you know, be as powdery either. Whereas with this one, the Iconic Nuit, this one also to me is not as powdery as La Nuit de l'Homme is either. But it's not, I would say, it's not as sweet as what the Bleu Electrique is. So this one definitely has a slightly more drier sort of feel to it than what the Bleu Electrique does. And definitely, I would say a heavier emphasis on the vetiver for sure. Yeah, absolutely. Which is kind of what gives this one, you know, a slightly sort of dry feel to it. All right. So again, overall, I would say the Iconic Nuit, it comes about 70% close to the original Bleu Electrique, but that's not necessarily a bad thing. This does smell very high quality. It does also have very good performance. In terms of the projection, this definitely, it gives you very good projection, I would say, for at least about the first hour and a half or so. Then it does start to become a little bit closer to your skin, but at least on me, this does perform better than what the like original La Nuit de l'Homme, you know, performs. I would say the Bleu Electrique does perform a little bit better than this, just because it is a little bit denser. The Bleu Electrique seems to be a little bit thicker and louder than what this fragrance is. But I would say the differences aren't necessarily like that significant. It's just the sort of texture and behavior of the two fragrances. Like I said, this one is a little bit more aromatic. The Bleu Electrique is just a little bit more denser and thicker, which makes it, you know, a little bit more louder. Also, in terms of like the overall longevity, I would say is slightly better on the Bleu Electrique. So with that one, I get very good performance out of the Bleu Electrique, at least 10 plus hours, I would say, with that one. Whereas with the Iconic Nuit, this is going to be more of sort of like that kind of 7 to 9 hour fragrance max, I would say, pretty much in terms of like the total longevity. Which, you know, for a fragrance that I believe I only picked this one up for like around $35. And I believe that was, you know, the price with shipping and everything. That is very good for, you know, a cheap, you know, sort of clone fragrance. I'm very, very happy with the Iconic Nuit for sure. Like I said, even though it's not as close to, you know, like the Bleu Electrique as probably what it, you know, what other fragrances may be, I am still very happy with, you know, the way that this smells. So if you're looking for like I would say a sort of fresh, spicy fragrance that, you know, has a really heavy emphasis on cardamom, but does sort of have like a slightly sort of blue vibe to it, then I would say check this fragrance out, you know, and again, for $35, you know, and I'll have a link to where you can actually pick this one up from. But for $35, you know, which is what I paid for this, I really don't think that you could go wrong. I would say even if you don't like the fragrance, you only spent $35 on it. All right. So overall, if I'm going to give this one a rating, just, you know, in terms of like my overall satisfaction with this fragrance, I would say that this is a solid 8.5 out of 10. You know, again, not as close to the original as maybe what some other fragrances are. I'll definitely have to try some of those other ones like Jack of Clubs and the Al Nashama. But in terms of just the way that this one smells, I think that this is a very enjoyable fragrance. And for the price, I really don't think that you can beat it. All right. So again, this one is Iconic Nuit. Let me know in the comments, what do you all think about this fragrance if you smelled it? I've only seen this one sold at the one website that I actually picked it up from. Don't remember the name of it, so I'll have a link in the description to where I bought this from. It's the first time that I've ever bought a fragrance from this site, and it was the first time I had ever heard of it. So at least in my case with, purchasing from this particular website, they seem to be legit. But I would definitely, I'll have other links to this fragrance if I can find it from, more sort of, I guess, reputable websites, or more well-known websites anyway. So let me know in the comments, what do you all think about Iconic Nuit from Grandeur Elite? Do you love this fragrance? Do you hate it? Do you like the fact that this is slightly different from the original Bleu Electrique from YSL? And if not, also let me know as well. All right. And also, if you're brand new to my channel, do me a favor, go ahead and subscribe to the channel. And to anyone watching, leave a like and a comment on the video. And again, that's Jamar from Vegas Scents. I'll see you on the next video.